Okay, but watch the entire thing, and if you're given some other example besides the one country you did, maybe one in our own nation as we did in I could also interview. She did an interview with Elon Musk, who has long been known for his controversial opinions, disruptive innovations, and unexpected public appearances. He's someone who never shies away from sharing his views, whether they are about space exploration, artificial intelligence, or even his thoughts on the media. So, when news broke that Musk had revealed surprising insights into Harris Faulkner's departure from Fox News, it was bound to spark significant conversations. The combination of Musk's influential voice and the well-known conservative anchor's sudden exit created a whirlwind of speculation and interest. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. Harris Faulkner, a prominent figure in conservative media, has had a distinguished career at Fox News. Her poised demeanor, insightful interviews, and ability to handle tough discussions have made her a household name in American television news. As the anchor of the Faulkner Focus and a central figure on Outnumbered, Faulkner's presence on Fox News has been critical to the network's success. She represents a unique blend of journalistic integrity and strong conservative values, appealing to a wide audience across the political spectrum. So, when word surfaced that she would be leaving Fox News, many wondered why such a respected figure would walk away from the platform that helped define her career. Elon Musk's involvement in this story adds an extra layer of intrigue. As the CEO of companies like SpaceX and Tesla, and now as the owner of X, formerly Twitter, Musk has frequently positioned himself as a critic of mainstream media, claiming that bias and manipulation have tainted journalistic objectivity. His thoughts on Faulkner's exit therefore offer a perspective that extends beyond mere gossip. Musk has been vocal about media transparency, misinformation, and the evolving role of journalism in a digital age, so his insights likely reflect broader issues within the media ecosystem. Musk's revealing comments about Faulkner's departure not only serve as an explanation for her decision but also highlight growing discontent with how media platforms, even ones like Fox News, may operate behind the scenes. Musk hinted that Faulkner's departure wasn't as simple as contract disagreements or personal reasons. Instead, he suggested that larger, more systemic forces were at play. In recent years, the media landscape has become increasingly polarized, with pressures from both political and corporate interests growing more intense. Anchors, reporters, and even executives have found themselves in positions where staying true to their personal or professional ethics often comes into conflict with the demands of corporate media ownership and profit-driven motives. Musk has repeatedly criticized this very dynamic, arguing that it undermines the credibility of the press and silences voices that seek to offer balanced or dissenting viewpoints. According to Musk's revelations, Faulkner may have been grappling with these exact pressures. Fox News, while known for its conservative slant, is still a corporation driven by ratings, ad revenue, and political alliances. Musk insinuated that Faulkner, who has built her brand on integrity and journalistic principles, may have felt increasingly boxed in by these commercial demands. Her commitment to fair reporting, even within a conservative framework, could have been compromised by the need to appease sponsors or maintain high ratings in a fiercely competitive cable news environment. This kind of pressure is not new in media, but Musk's perspective suggests that it is reaching a breaking point, particularly as public trust in traditional news sources continues to decline. Over the past decade, alternative news platforms, social media influencers, and independent journalists have risen in popularity, precisely because of growing skepticism towards mainstream outlets like Fox News. Faulkner's exit, Musk implies, could be emblematic of this larger shift, where seasoned journalists no longer feel at home in the corporate media world and may instead seek platforms where they can operate with greater editorial freedom. Musk also pointed to the role of technology in shaping the current media landscape, a subject on which he is uniquely qualified to comment. As the head of companies that have revolutionized industries, Musk understands the disruptive power of technology. In the case of journalism, platforms like X have fundamentally altered how news is consumed, shared, and discussed. With the rise of real-time information dissemination on social media, traditional networks like Fox News have struggled to keep up, often resorting to sensationalism to maintain viewer engagement. This, according to Musk, may have further alienated figures like Faulkner, who pride themselves on substance over spectacle. There's also the matter of ideological alignment. While Faulkner has been a prominent conservative voice, Musk hinted that her views may have diverged from the more hardline stances that Fox News has taken in recent years. Faulkner's conservative philosophy is deeply rooted in principles of personal responsibility, limited government, and free speech. However, Fox News has occasionally found itself catering to a more extreme element of the right-wing audience, which could clash with Faulkner's more measured approach. Musk's comments suggest that Faulkner may have felt uncomfortable with the direction in which the network was heading, both in terms of content and tone. Furthermore, Musk has long been critical of cancel culture and the ways in which public figures are pressured to conform to specific narratives. He suggested that Faulkner might have faced internal conflicts at Fox News, where stepping out of line even slightly could result in professional consequences. This aligns with broader trends in media, where deviation from established narratives, even within ideologically aligned outlets, is met with backlash. Musk's interpretation of Faulkner's exit points to this very issue, framing her departure as a stand against the homogenization of opinion within the media. The implications of Faulkner's departure, as revealed by Musk, are far-reaching. First, it calls into question the future of mainstream media, particularly conservative outlets like Fox News. If someone as established and respected as Faulkner feels compelled to leave, it raises concerns about the internal dynamics of these organizations and their ability to retain top talent. More importantly, it underscores the challenges facing journalists who seek to maintain their integrity in an industry increasingly dominated by corporate interests and polarized viewpoints. Faulkner's decision could signal a broader exodus of experienced journalists from traditional media platforms as they search for more authentic and independent avenues to practice their craft. Musk's revelations also invite speculation about where Faulkner might go next. In today's media environment, there are more opportunities than ever for journalists to carve out their own spaces, whether through independent platforms, podcasts, or digital channels. Musk, with his ownership of X, may even be hinting at potential future collaborations. He has repeatedly expressed a desire to see more diverse viewpoints represented on his platform, and Faulkner, with her experience and credibility, could be a valuable addition to the growing trend of independent journalism. In a broader sense, Faulkner's departure and Musk's comments tap into a larger conversation about the role of the media in shaping public discourse. With trust in mainstream news declining, there is a growing demand for alternative sources of information that prioritize truth over sensationalism. Musk's critique of the media and his praise for figures like Faulkner suggest that the future of journalism may lie outside the confines of traditional networks. This could lead to the rise of new platforms that challenge the dominance of legacy media, offering journalists more freedom to pursue stories without corporate interference. Another key point in Musk's revelations is the changing nature of news consumption. With younger audiences increasingly turning away from traditional news outlets in favor of social media and independent content creators, networks like Fox News are being forced to adapt. Musk has been an advocate for decentralized media, where individual voices can reach audiences directly without the filter of corporate oversight. Faulkner's departure could be a sign that even established journalists are beginning to recognize the limitations of working within traditional media structures and are exploring ways to engage with audiences more directly. Moreover, Musk's comments touch on the potential for technological innovation to reshape journalism. With advancements in artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, and decentralized communication platforms, the future of news may look very different from the present. Musk, as a tech visionary, has consistently pushed the boundaries of what's possible in various industries, and his insights into Faulkner's exit suggest that the media industry is ripe for similar disruption. Whether through new platforms or innovative content delivery methods, the next phase of journalism could be defined by increased autonomy for journalists and more direct engagement with audiences. In light of Faulkner's exit, there are also significant implications for Fox News itself. Losing a high-profile anchor like Faulkner could indicate internal strife or a shift in the network's priorities. Fox has long been a dominant force in conservative media, but the loss of such a respected figure raises questions about its ability to retain talent and maintain credibility. While Fox has weathered similar storms in the past, the media landscape is changing rapidly, and Faulkner's departure could be a sign that even the most established outlets are not immune to these shifts. The story of Harris Faulkner leaving Fox News and Elon Musk's involvement in revealing the reasons behind her departure holds much more depth and nuance than initially apparent. Beyond the immediate shock value of the news, there are many layers that highlight broader transformations happening not just in the media industry but also in society at large. Musk's commentary brings an additional dimension to the narrative, making it an ideal lens through which to examine multiple areas of impact, including the decline of mainstream media, the rise of independent journalism, the evolution of the public's relationship with news, and the increasing influence of technology on how stories are told. One crucial aspect that emerges from Musk's revelations is the issue of corporate influence over media content. While Fox News is no stranger to controversy, having been a lightning rod for criticism from both sides of the political spectrum, Musk's insights suggest that Faulkner's exit may have been influenced by forces much more pervasive than the typical on-air disputes or ratings-related decisions. Media companies are, after all, businesses that need to generate profit, and in doing so, they sometimes compromise the very values that journalism is supposed to uphold: truth, objectivity, and accountability. Faulkner, a seasoned journalist with decades of experience, may have found herself at odds with the business model of a network that is increasingly driven by the need to maintain viewership and maximize advertising revenue. As Musk hinted, there could have been an ongoing battle between maintaining journalistic integrity and adhering to the content demands of the corporation. This type of conflict is not unique to Fox News but is indicative of a larger problem across all major news outlets, regardless of political orientation. The modern media industry is a highly competitive, profit-driven machine where ratings often trump substance. Anchors and journalists are frequently pressured to deliver stories that will attract eyeballs and clicks, sometimes at the expense of nuanced reporting. Musk's perspective on Faulkner's situation adds weight to this issue. His criticism of corporate-run media is well known, and his control over X represents his desire to build an alternative space where news can circulate with fewer gatekeepers. Faulkner's decision to leave Fox News, as per Musk's account, is likely a manifestation of her refusal to continue playing the role of a cog in the corporate media wheel. This raises significant questions about how corporate control over the news is influencing the broader landscape of public discourse. Are we getting the stories that matter, or are we simply consuming content that is designed to manipulate emotions and drive clicks? The implications of Musk's statement suggest a future in which traditional news outlets may struggle to maintain their grip on public trust. As seasoned journalists like Faulkner leave networks like Fox News, the general public may begin to question not only the quality of the information being disseminated but also the motives behind it. Over the last few years, we've already seen a sharp decline in public trust towards traditional news sources. Polls consistently show that Americans, for instance, are growing more skeptical of the information they receive from cable news networks, newspapers, and other legacy media. The Faulkner incident, framed by Musk's revelations, seems to represent yet another domino falling in the gradual erosion of faith in these institutions. This shift could lead to a new era of journalism, where individual reporters and journalists gain prominence through alternative platforms that allow them to operate without the constraints of corporate oversight. Musk himself might be hinting at this possibility with X, which, under his leadership, has become a space for real-time news and debate without the traditional filters imposed by network editors. For Faulkner, leaving Fox News might mark the beginning of a new chapter in her career, where she is no longer bound by the rules of corporate media and can speak more freely on issues she feels passionately about. Musk has also commented extensively on how technology has changed the way we consume news, and Faulkner's departure is an interesting case study in this broader narrative. In the age of social media, the control that networks like Fox News have traditionally exercised over the flow of information is increasingly being challenged. Platforms like X, YouTube, and Substack have democratized content creation, allowing anyone with a camera and an internet connection to share their perspectives with the world. Musk, a staunch advocate for free speech on social media, is likely aware that more journalists like Faulkner could turn to these platforms in the future, bypassing traditional media outlets altogether. This technological revolution is fundamentally reshaping the media industry, decentralizing the power that once rested solely with major networks. Figures like Faulkner, who may have grown disillusioned with the editorial limitations of corporate-run news organizations, now have the option to build their own brands and followings online. This shift has already begun to happen with other high-profile journalists who have left mainstream outlets to launch independent ventures, often with great success. Glenn Greenwald, Matt Taibbi, and Bari Weiss are just a few examples of journalists who have opted out of the traditional media ecosystem to pursue more independent paths. Musk's influence in this sphere is critical. As the owner of X, he has the power to shape the platform's role in the future of news dissemination. His support for decentralized journalism aligns with the potential trajectory that Faulkner might follow after her exit from Fox News. The fact that Musk himself is commenting on her departure signals that he sees Faulkner as a key player in this new media landscape. He might be signaling that she, like other prominent journalists before her, could thrive in an environment where her voice is not constrained by corporate interests. Furthermore, Faulkner's exit brings into focus the ideological tensions within media organizations like Fox News. Musk's comments suggest that Faulkner may have found herself at odds with the direction the network has taken in recent years. While Fox News remains the most popular conservative news outlet, it has had its fair share of internal conflicts, especially following the 2020 election and its aftermath. The network has had to navigate between maintaining its credibility with mainstream conservatives while also catering to a more populist, Trump-aligned audience. Faulkner, known for her measured approach to conservative commentary, may have been increasingly uncomfortable with the more extreme elements that sometimes dominate the Fox News narrative. This ideological tension within Fox News is emblematic of a larger struggle within the American conservative movement. On one hand, there is the traditional conservatism that emphasizes limited government, free markets, and individual liberties, values that Faulkner has consistently championed. On the other hand, there is the rise of a more populist, nationalist strain of conservatism that has gained significant influence in recent years, particularly during the Trump era. This shift in the ideological landscape could very well have contributed to Faulkner's decision to leave the network, as she may have found herself increasingly isolated from the more hardline views that were gaining prominence. Musk's commentary on this aspect of Faulkner's exit is particularly insightful because it touches on the broader cultural and political divide in American media. The tension between traditional conservative values and the more populist rhetoric is not unique to Fox News. It's a dynamic that is playing out across the entire media ecosystem, from CNN to MSNBC to smaller outlets. Faulkner's departure, therefore, is not just about one journalist leaving one network. It represents a microcosm of the broader ideological battles that are shaping the future of news and political discourse in America. As we consider the implications of Musk's revelations, it's also worth reflecting on the role that public figures like Musk and Faulkner play in shaping public opinion. Musk, with his massive following and platform ownership, has become a key player in the media landscape. His commentary on news events, whether through tweets or public statements, often generates significant attention and can even influence the way stories are framed. Faulkner, meanwhile, has built a reputation as a trusted voice for conservative audiences, and her departure from Fox News signals a potential shift in where these audiences may turn for news in the future. Musk's involvement in this story underscores the increasing power that tech entrepreneurs and social media platforms hold in the world of journalism. In many ways, tech platforms like X have become the new gatekeepers of information, wielding more influence over public discourse than traditional media outlets. Musk, by taking a direct interest in Faulkner's departure, is signaling that he sees himself and his platform as central to the future of journalism. His views on corporate media, journalistic freedom, and the role of technology suggest that he envisions a media landscape where independent voices like Faulkner's can flourish without being subject to the constraints of legacy institutions. Faulkner's potential move toward a more independent platform, whether it be through X or another medium, could mark the beginning of a new trend in journalism as more journalists seek to distance themselves from corporate media. We may see the rise of a more diverse and decentralized media ecosystem. This shift would have significant implications for how news is produced, consumed, and trusted by the public. It could lead to a more pluralistic media landscape where a wider range of perspectives are represented, but it could also create challenges in terms of verifying the credibility of sources and combating misinformation. One of the key points Musk has made in his critiques of mainstream media is the need for greater transparency and accountability in journalism. Faulkner's departure, seen through this lens, could be a step toward addressing these issues. In an environment where journalists are free to pursue stories without corporate interference, there may be more room for investigative reporting and in-depth analysis rather than the sensationalism that often dominates cable news. This could lead to a higher standard of journalism overall, with more focus on facts and less on partisan narratives. The potential implications of Harris Faulkner leaving Fox News, as revealed by Elon Musk, go far beyond her personal journey or even Fox News itself. The significance of this event extends into discussions about the broader state of media, power dynamics between technology companies and journalism, and the future of public discourse. As we venture deeper into understanding these layers, it becomes increasingly clear that the issue of Faulkner's departure is just one example of the seismic shifts happening in both the media and political landscape. One area that deserves more focus is the impact Faulkner's exit could have on the audiences she has cultivated throughout her tenure at Fox News. Her viewers, many of whom are loyal to her as a trusted conservative voice, may now find themselves questioning the network's direction. When a prominent anchor leaves under potentially contentious circumstances, especially one as respected as Faulkner, it sends a message to the audience that something deeper might be amiss. This break in the audience-anchor relationship could prompt viewers to reconsider their trust in the network as a whole, contributing to a broader skepticism that is already prevalent in today's media environment. The trust that audiences place in individual journalists is often a key factor in their loyalty to a news outlet. Faulkner's departure represents a fracture in that trust, particularly if Musk's revelations are accurate and her exit was influenced by internal or external pressures rather than being purely a personal or career-based decision. For the viewers who tune into Fox News not just for the overall programming but specifically to hear Faulkner's perspective, this could be a turning point. They may now start seeking alternative sources of news that align more closely with the values and journalistic integrity they felt Faulkner represented. This phenomenon isn't isolated to Fox News. It's part of a larger pattern where audiences are becoming more aligned with specific journalists or personalities rather than entire networks. In the past, people might have identified as loyal viewers of a particular news channel. Today, with the rise of social media and independent platforms, people often follow individual voices, whether they are journalists, commentators, or influencers. Faulkner's audience may follow her wherever she goes next, especially if she chooses to embrace one of the many digital platforms that allow journalists to operate independently, free from the constraints of network control. Musk's own platform could be one such destination, given its emphasis on free speech and the unfiltered distribution of information. The migration of audiences away from traditional media outlets toward independent platforms marks a broader shift in the consumption of news and political commentary. It is not just a question of Faulkner's next career move but a reflection of a new era in journalism where audiences are no longer tethered to the gatekeepers of traditional news networks. The rise of podcasts, newsletters like Substack, YouTube channels, and other forms of independent media allows journalists to cultivate their audiences in a direct, personal way, unmediated by corporate interests or editorial boards. This transition to more personal and direct forms of media could be one of the most significant outcomes of Faulkner's departure. Musk's insights into this phenomenon are particularly valuable because of his role as a tech mogul who understands the disruptive power of technology. Platforms like X, under his leadership, are designed to facilitate this type of direct engagement between content creators and their audiences. Musk has often spoken about how decentralization and technological disruption are democratizing access to information, and Faulkner's exit could serve as a catalyst for this trend within the media landscape. As more prominent journalists opt for independent paths, we could see a significant redistribution of audience loyalty from networks to individuals. One interesting aspect of this shift is the way in which it reflects broader societal changes in how people perceive institutions. Trust in institutions, whether they are government bodies, corporations, or media organizations, has been steadily declining over the last decade. This erosion of trust is particularly evident in the field of journalism, where accusations of bias, misinformation, and sensationalism have led many people to seek out alternative sources of information. Faulkner's departure, viewed through the lens of Musk's critique, is emblematic of this growing distrust of traditional media institutions. When a well-respected journalist like Faulkner leaves a major network like Fox News, it can be seen as a confirmation of the fears that many people have about the inner workings of corporate media. This breakdown in trust is also related to the increasing polarization of the media landscape. As news outlets become more ideologically driven in order to appeal to specific segments of the population, they often alienate large portions of the audience that do not align with their particular brand of politics. This is true across the political spectrum, from conservative outlets like Fox News to more progressive platforms like MSNBC or CNN. The departure of a more moderate, principled journalist like Faulkner suggests that even within ideologically aligned outlets, there are deep divisions about the best way to present the news. The consequences of this ideological fragmentation could be far-reaching. One possibility is that as more journalists choose to leave traditional networks, we could see the rise of more ideologically diverse, independent platforms that do not fit neatly into the binary of left versus right. Musk's comments on Faulkner's exit hint at this possibility, as he has frequently spoken about the need for platforms that allow for a broader range of viewpoints. This would represent a significant departure from the current media model, where most major outlets cater to specific political ideologies and reinforce the views of their target audience. If Faulkner were to embrace this kind of independent model, she could attract a more ideologically diverse audience than she ever could at Fox News. This is because independent platforms often allow for more nuanced, less polarized discussions of the issues without the constraints of a corporate or network agenda. Faulkner would be free to explore a wider range of topics and perspectives, potentially attracting viewers who are disillusioned with the increasingly partisan nature of mainstream media. Musk's vision for X as a platform for open dialogue and the free exchange of ideas could provide the perfect forum for Faulkner to continue her career in a way that aligns with her values. This shift toward independent journalism is also related to the changing economics of the media industry. As advertising revenue declines and traditional business models struggle to remain profitable, many journalists are finding that they can earn more and maintain greater editorial control by going independent. Platforms like Substack, Patreon, and others have made it possible for journalists to monetize their content directly without needing the backing of a major network. Musk's insights into the economic pressures faced by journalists like Faulkner highlight the fact that corporate media, with its emphasis on profits and ratings, may no longer be the best place for principled journalists who want to pursue hard-hitting investigative stories. For Faulkner, this economic shift could open up a new world of possibilities. By leaving Fox News, she has the opportunity to build her own brand, engage directly with her audience, and potentially earn more than she ever could as a network anchor. In this new model, journalists are no longer reliant on a single employer. They can create multiple revenue streams through subscriptions, donations, and sponsorships. This independence could empower Faulkner and others like her to pursue the stories that matter most to them without having to worry about corporate or advertiser pressures. Musk's critique of the corporate media model also touches on the broader question of journalistic integrity. In a world where news outlets are driven by profit margins and ratings, there is often less room for the kind of investigative journalism that holds powerful institutions accountable. Faulkner's departure could be seen as part of a larger trend where journalists who prioritize truth and accountability over sensationalism are leaving traditional networks in favor of more independent platforms. Musk's emphasis on free speech and transparency aligns with this trend, as he has frequently called for greater openness in the media industry. The rise of independent journalism could also lead to more collaboration between journalists, both within and across ideological lines. Without the constraints of network competition, journalists working on independent platforms may be more likely to collaborate on investigative projects or share information with one another. This could lead to more in-depth reporting and a greater diversity of perspectives in the news. Musk's vision for X as a platform that facilitates open dialogue and collaboration could play a key role in fostering these kinds of partnerships between journalists. One of the most exciting possibilities that emerges from Musk's revelations about Faulkner's departure is the potential for a more dynamic, decentralized media landscape. In this future, journalists like Faulkner would no longer be bound by the limitations of traditional networks, but would instead be free to pursue stories and engage with audiences in a more direct, unfiltered way. This could lead to a resurgence of investigative journalism as well as a more pluralistic media environment where a wide range of perspectives are represented. Musk's role in this shift is particularly important as his platform X could become a central hub for this new kind of journalism. Musk's comments on Faulkner's exit raise important questions about how we can balance the need for journalistic freedom with the need for accountability and accuracy in the media. As the owner of X, Musk has a responsibility to ensure that his platform is a space for open dialogue while also preventing the spread of harmful misinformation. This is a delicate balance and one that will become increasingly important as more journalists move toward independent models of reporting. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us what's your reaction to Harris Faulkner leaving Fox News? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.